This was just about the first piece of classical music that ever got me into classical music. And this is the short section of that piece that really got me into it in the first place. This part kept snagging my ear. Something was so perfect about it, each chord complementing the next, and yet taking me on a short circular journey back to the start. Little did I know, I've been admiring that same pattern most of my life, from to. This is the story of that short circular journey, the progression of fifths. You see, it was actually only years later that I realised the same thing had happened with another of the first pieces of classical music I'd really liked, and yet again it was a particular part of it. Of course, when you start hearing it once, then you start hearing it everywhere, instrumentally, in voices, in slow versions, and somehow always in my favourite bits of pieces. Now, there's a reason this harmonic sequence has such a lure on my ears, and that's built on the relationship of fifths. Go back to any of my previous videos on harmony, and you'll know that after the octave, the fifth is the most fundamental harmonic relationship in music. This note is actually contained within the vibrations of your first note, a natural resonance we call an overtone. Pluck a string and it's already vibrating with your dominant note as well. So, when you sit on the key of this fifth note, it pulls you back towards its original home key. Its gravity dominates. It is, after all, called the dominant, and that's particularly true if you use a seventh chord. You're pulled strongly back towards your home key. So, the trick about this sequence is that gravitational pull works through a sequence of keys, each exerting an influence on the next before taking us back to our home key. Take this famous example, Handel's Passacaglia. Each step in the sequence is defined by some kind of fifth relationship, pulling you naturally from one to the other. Now there's many different ways you can skin this particular creature, and that's part of the fun. Our harmonic fifth relationship works both ways, with a dominant relationship to keys on either side of our circle of fifths. And you've also got relative minors you can jump to, not to mention all sorts of other tricks. The more I discovered about this sequence, the more I realised it really was a mainstay of the Baroque period. Throw a stick at a Vivaldi concerto and you'll probably hit a progression of fifths. As we move through history, from the Baroque period to the classical, we still find the sequence being employed, but more rarely. Mozart clearly still enjoyed the formula. Here's two from the same piano sonata. And here's one from his 17th piano concerto. Look how he embellishes it at the end, it's beautiful. here, just over a generation later, comes Schubert. But the sequence becomes rarer. Music's a language, and as that language develops, familiar tropes can become cliches. Composers can't simply repeat the language of their predecessors. So, by the Romantic period, the use of our progression of fifths is rarer indeed. Here's an example from Wagner. But the reference is deliberate. It comes from the opera The Meistersingers and serves as a reminder of the works of past craftsmen and the traditions of German culture. It's calling back through time. Wagner's use of it is deliberately referring to the past, but it's still one of my favourite bits of the opera. Harmonic progression of fifths becomes pretty much obsolete in classical music in the 20th century. Oh, here's an example from Benjamin Britten's Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. But hang on, Britten is actually recycling an original theme by Purcell from his Abdelaziz suite from 1676. A perfect circle of fifths, and perfect matching of attire and wood veneer by the Voices of Music. Well done. So, this really comes back from further in the Baroque period, and Britten's reactivating the theme 250 years later as a good excuse to repeat a good tune. But if classical music was being a little bit snotty about the fifths, popular music certainly didn't mind.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars.
Or jazz. The sequence found fresh life in famous hands. And delivered some of our most famous tunes. I've learnt this secret little formula has been earworming me for years, all my life really, and that's testament to the immense attraction the most basic laws of harmony have over our ears. So, there we go, the progression of fifths, more proof, if more is needed, of the enduring hold the language of harmony has over our ears. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.